Hey everybody, Arthur here with another Build-A-Figure review. Today we have Baku from the second wave of Black Panther figures, and let's go ahead and put him together as I placed his limbs on the proper sides, as that's important. You don't want to put stuff in wrong. Now, he does have a little bit of rubbery skirt, so that's going to make putting in the leg a little bit of a pain. Let's get that. It's hard to tell if it popped in there. Don't think it did. Nope. These legs were a pain because of this skirt. So found out if you push up the skirt, you can actually slide it up like so, and then it gives you a little bit more closer part to the thigh. But then once you're done, you can just sort of work its way back down, so you can make sure it's positioned where it needs to be. But yeah, that was the legs were a bit of pain. You know, you need to get it in there where it pops, or else it's going to have a gap and it's going to keep popping the leg off. You don't want that to happen with your Build-A-Figure. Let's go and pop the arm in. Actually, let me take this off. Yeah, that's right. Fur can come off. There it goes. Did the pop. Come on, head, get down there. Didn't do the pop, but he's on there. So here we got, let me fix the camera here. Baku all put together after trying to make sure everything felt snug enough. He looks great. I mean, it's exactly what I was expecting him to look like. One thing he does come with, he comes with his staff, and this to me is probably the weakest part of the Build-A-Figure, as it's just plastic. It's brown plastic, no wood grain, nothing. It's just almost looks like a stylus you'd get with a DS or something like that. So the weakest part of this Build-A-Figure is his weapon. Then we look at the figure itself as a whole, and it's amazing. The amount of detail we get in this figure, and the fur, like, look at that. That is awesome. The shading, the gradients, just like, you know, how it transitions from the lighter to the darker fur. Looks very good. Now, as you saw earlier, this piece does come off, and it takes the little brown pieces with it, straps of leather, I guess. And then you can actually see the back. Didn't add any paint and stuff because, I mean, honestly, I think a lot of people are going to keep the fur on. Then his arms, like, I love his armor. The armor has like this nice wood, like, painting almost. It looks so good. When it comes to the MCU figures, Hasbro doesn't hold back with the sculpts or the paint. They make some really good choices, and I love the way they painted it. Now, I do have a gripe. Look at this arm. It's loose. It's loose as can be. I don't know if anybody else has issues with their arms. Like, this one's really pretty loose. This one's not horrible, but still you can just sort of see him flicking it, and it's moving. Articulation wise, these awesome shoulder pads do not get in the way. The paint, it looks like wood. Like, it looks great. Looks so good. I'm geeking. I can't help it. It just, when it comes to figures, I geek out because they're figures, but I also appreciate the art and the design and the paints that they put into these figures. Even his head sculpt looks great. Nothing seems wonky about it. Just looks on point. His head can look down this far, and it can look up that far. I did pop his head off and back on, and it doesn't necessarily pop on like a lot of the other heads. It fits on, but it doesn't make that popping noise. But you can't really get attitude with him. Not at all. Like, I'm trying, but it's not. It's basically up and down, and then left and right. Well, yeah, this guy does not get the attitude, but his arm can go up this high because of the shoulder pads. I was expecting them to, oh, I guess I can go a little. They can go up pretty far. Very, very nice. So it even has bicep swivel right there, which is awesome. I did not know that. That's really cool. Double jointed elbow, and again, you can just see the looseness. Wrist rotation, and he does have a bend, so you can bend that wrist. Really awesome. He doesn't have ab crunch. He just has this ball, and it does allow him to lean back, lean forward, lean to the sides. Like, this range of motion is just awesome, and it flows so nicely. Nothing's like scraping and stuff. Really cool texture on that part of the armor. Then we get in down here. There's no waist swivel. I tried that. We just get this big hunk of rubber that's supposed to be like fur and braids and leather. Like, it's not horrible. It's definitely a lot of rubber. I really like the outside part. It's like, okay, cool. It's like wool or something, but I really like the leather underneath. It's all tore up. It's got a little bit of frost on it. There's knee pads. Bend them a little bit. Got a little bit of the wood look to them, but then the shins are the part that actually stand out the most. Like, they got that wood grain look. The it looks awesome. Snowy furry boots. So he does have obviously the thigh cut because he had to pop them on. He can't really do the splits because of his giant rubber skirt. Double jointed knees, and then he has ankle bend, and then pivot, and then he has a little bit of tips of his shoes showing up. And I love how you can actually underneath, it'll focus there, you can see the shoes and how much fur is actually around his feet. So very, very cool stuff. But the main thing is, how well does he pose? I mean, he has the articulation. Let's get him all posed up. You can get him posed up with a nice, like, I'm going to swing my ball stick down straight onto you. But he is very, very limited on his posability. Mainly, as you can see, he falls back. But it's mainly, it's his legs. His legs are the limitation. This fur piece on his back, when you plug it in, when you start bringing his arms and stuff up, sometimes it wants to pop out. So it's not horrible, but his posability is very, very limited. The stick just, I don't know. It's thin at the bottom. He only has certain areas where his fist will actually grip it unless you heat up his hands and like close them up more. I don't know. Like, you can't really do any splits. You can basically probably get him in some like jogging, running positions. You really can't squat him down or anything. You get the most posability right here. Like, his whole upper half is posable. It's just when you get the waist down, you're just really, really restricted. So it's actually comparison time. I'm busting out the vibranium suit Black Panther from this wave, just to sort of give you the size comparison. So that's his vibranium suit. And I guess we can bust out the Civil War suit, which, again, I'm not really going to be posing him or having my Black Panther be in the Civil War buck, because I just don't, it just doesn't seem right. But either way, Baku is actually quite bigger than both, and I like that. Because in the movie, I mean, he was a pretty massive guy. And that I feel is perfect. You know, he should be bigger than Black Panther, in my opinion. So you get him to scale up pretty nicely, so he will look great on any Black Panther dio or display that you guys may have set up. But that sums up my Build-A-Figure review of Baku. If you guys like what you saw, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more. Make sure you check out Toyco Toys and Collectibles. Both Facebook groups are down below. One is your fellow nerd community. Interact with fellow nerds, talk figures, share figures, have a good time. Second one's pre-order group. Make sure you're in the know with collectibles. Make sure you're able to get dibs on some amazing pricing with some of these figures, because you know when some of this stuff drops and people start buying it, or the hype train kicks in, you got those scalpers that jump up those prices. I don't want to deal with it, and I don't want to waste gas a lot of times, or the headache of stress and of trying to complete a wave. So I end up hitting up Toyco, and I want you guys to have the best luck hunting. Keep on collecting. Have a beautiful day.